Hi, this is Dr. Swapna and I welcome you to your Learn Lab. Here we learn a bunch of things in the simplest possible way. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the bell button and subscribe for more. Also, like and share and let me know what you think about the videos. In this session, we are going to look at the arithmetic mean but with a twist. We are not going to deal with the usual straightforward data. Instead, we are going to look at special cases. Situations where data is given to us in a way that is a little different from the standard format. And here we might need to do a little bit of extra work before we can actually find the mean. Now, before we jump in, let me quickly remind you of two methods we already know for finding arithmetic mean of a grouped frequency distribution. The first is the direct method. In the direct method, we use the formula mean is equal to sigma mf by sigma f, where m is the midpoint of each class interval, f is the frequency, mf is the product of midpoint and frequency, or we multiply our midpoint with the frequency to get this number. Sigma mf is the sum of all the mf values and sigma f is the total frequency, which is just the total number of observations. The second method we have is the assume mean method. This method is especially useful when the midpoints are large numbers and multiplying them with the frequencies become very tedious and time consuming. In this method, we pick one of the midpoints as our assume mean and we can call it as A. And then we work with the deviations from that assume mean. We also call it as difference. So the formula for this method is mean is equal to A plus sigma fd by sigma f. Here, d is the deviation of each midpoint from the assumed mean. Or we said we'll call it difference for simple, easier understanding. That is, d is equal to m minus a or midpoint minus the assumed mean. Both methods will give you the same answer. The direct method is more straightforward, while the assumed mean method can save you calculation time with large numbers. In this video, we'll use the direct method for all our examples. But remember, the assume mean method is always an option you can fall back on. Now, in all the special cases we are going to see, we are going to deal with one key concept, the midpoint, which is also called the mid value. This is because when data is given in class intervals, we need a single representative value for each class. And that representative value is the midpoint. Now, remember, midpoint of a class interval is calculated as m is equal to lower limit plus upper limit whole divided by 2. Let's now get into each of the special cases one by one, step by step. So first we have a case of unequal class intervals. Let's look at one of the questions to see. Here is our first question. Find the mean of the following distribution. And we have a table with class interval and frequency. Class interval says 0 to 5, 5 to 15, 15 to 30 and 30 to 50. And we have their corresponding frequencies. Now, at first glance, this looks like a standard group frequency distribution. But if you look closely at the class intervals, the first class is 0 to 5. That is with a range of 5. The second class is 5 to 15. Here the width or the range is 10. Now the third class, if you see, is 15 to 30. That is a difference of 15. And fourth class is 30 to 50 with a width of 20. So width, range, difference, all of this means the same. I'm just been using all those different terms, right? So if you see, this is not the kind of normal table that we have been dealing with till now. Here the class widths are all different. This is what we call unequal class intervals. Now, here is the good news. This does not change our method at all. We still find the mean the same way. The class widths being unequal does not affect the formula. We still use mean is equal to sigma mf by sigma f. The only thing we need to do, as always, is to find the midpoint of each class interval, and we do it the same way as we always do. What is the formula? Midpoint m is equal to lower limit plus upper limit whole divided by 2. So let's now add the midpoint column to our table and we look at each class interval and calculate. I suggest you pause the video here, find the midpoints on your own, you know the steps, you can find out the mean on your own, then come back and verify with mine. Alright? So I hope you have paused and you have done it. Let's see. So midpoint for 0 to 5, it is 0 plus 5 divided by 2, which is 2.5. Then for 5 to 15, midpoint is 5 plus 15 divided by 2, which is 10. For 15 to 30, the midpoint is 15 plus 30 whole divided by 2, which is 22.5. And for 30 to 50, midpoint is 30 plus 50 all divided by 2, which is 40. So we have the table now. Next, okay, one more thing. Remember, in some cases, if the question is directly giving you the midpoints instead of the class intervals, then your half work is done, right? So instead of asking you to find the midpoint, sometimes the questioner can give you the midpoints. So simply use those values. You don't need to recalculate them. All right. So here coming back, so we now add the MF column and we multiply each of the midpoint by its corresponding frequency. And I hope you have already done this while you pause the video. So here are the values that I got. The first MF is 2.5 into 2, which is 5. Then 10 into 4, 40. 22.5 into 6, which is 135. 40 into 3, which is 120. Next, we calculate sigma F and sigma MF. So sigma F is 15 and sigma MF is 300. So now we are going to put all these values into the formula. Mean is equal to sigma MF by sigma F, which is 300 by 15, which is 20. So the arithmetic mean of this distribution is 20 and that is our answer. Now you see how straightforward that was. Unequal class intervals do not change anything. We just go step by step as we would normally do. Let's move on to the second special case, which is discontinuous class intervals. This is also sometimes called the discrete class interval case. So here is our question. Calculate the arithmetic mean of the following data and convert the class intervals into continuous intervals before proceeding. And you have table given here, which is age in years and number of workers, which is the frequency. And under age in years, we have the class intervals. Now, look at the class intervals here. This is 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, and 41 to 50. Do you notice anything? There are gaps between the classes. The first class ends at 20 and the second class starts at 21. So a value like 20.5, where would it fall? It falls between the classes. It doesn't belong to any class, right? So that's why these are called discontinuous or discrete class intervals. Now this is a problem because when we use the formula for the mean, we are assuming that the data within each class is spread continuously. So we need to convert these into continuous class intervals first. Now here is how we do it. We find the gap between the consecutive classes first. Between the first class which ends at 20 and the second class which starts at 21, and the gap is 1. So we are going to split this gap equally and half goes to the upper boundary of the first class and half goes to the lower boundary of the second class. This means we are going to subtract 0.5 from each lower limit and add 0.5 to each upper limit. Now let's apply this. So we have the first class 11 to 20. We are going to subtract 0.5 from 11 and add 0.5 to 20. So this becomes 10.5 and 20.5. Second class, we are again going to subtract 0.5 from 21 and add 0.5 to 30. So that becomes 20.5 to 30.5. In the same way, 31 to 40 becomes 30.5 to 40.5. And 41 to 50 becomes 40.5 to 50.5. Now we have the new class intervals. These new boundaries are called the true class limits or actual class limits. Notice that now the classes are continuous, which means each class ends exactly where the next one begins. Now, the rest of the process is same as we have been doing. You find the midpoint, find the MF values, add the MF values, add the frequency and put it in the formula. So I would suggest now you pause the video and do this on your own. Come back and verify it with mine. Okay, let's do this now. So we find the midpoints using the formula lower limit plus upper limit whole divided by 2. So we have the first one 10.5 plus 20.5 whole divided by 2, which is 15.5. Then we have 20.5 plus 30.5 whole divided by 2, which is 25.5. Then we have 30.5 plus 40.5 whole divided by 2, which is 35.5. And 40.5 plus 50.5 whole divided by 2, which is 45.5. Now we calculate the MF for each of the row. So we have these values 62, 153, 177.5 and 136.5. Now we add up the sigma F and sigma MF. So we have sigma F is equal to 18 and sigma MF is equal to 529. Now we put all these values into the formula. Mean is equal to sigma MF by sigma F. So we get 529 divided by 18, which is approximately 29.39. So the arithmetic mean for this distribution is approximately 29.39 years. Remember the question, it gives you age and frequency. So that is our answer for this question. So the key step here was converting the discontinuous class interval into continuous ones before we began our calculation. And once that was done, the rest of the process was exactly the same as always. So remember, find the difference and distribute it equally. So half of it would be removed from the previous limit and from the next limit it would be added. All right. So now for our third and final special case, these are open-ended class intervals. These are distributions where the first class starts with something like below 50 or less than 50. And the last class ends with something like 200 and above or more than 200. So you will see things like below or less than or more than or a number and above, so on. The challenge here is if the first class is below 50, we don't know where it starts from. Is it 0 to 50 or is it 10 to 50? We don't know. So how do we find the midpoint? So here the answer is we make a reasonable assumption based on the pattern of the other class intervals. Let's look at this question. Calculate the mean of the following data. The data given here is below 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 to 200 and 200 and above. Now, let us look at the other class intervals to find the pattern. The first one is below 50. Second one, the class is 50 to 100 and this has a width of 50. The next one, the class 100 to 150 also has a width of 50. And then the next one, the class 150 to 200 also has a width of 50. So the pattern is clear. The class width is consistently 50. So we use this to fill the open-ended classes. So for below 50, since the next class starts at 50 and the width we are assuming to be 50, we also assume the first class to be 0 to 50. And for the last one, 200 and above, since the previous class ends at 200 and the width is 50, we assume the last class is 200 to 250. So the assumption is the standard approach for open-ended classes. We always look at the pattern of the other class widths and use that to complete the open-ended class. Now we have all the information we need. So all you need to do is build your table, calculate the midpoint, calculate the MF values, add the frequency to find the sigma F, add MF to find sigma MF, and then put it in the same formula that we have been using. Mean is equal to sigma mf by sigma f. So you can do this on your own. I'm not doing this here. And the answer to this question is 101.32. You can do and check if you have got the same answer or not. This same question can be written in this form also, where we are giving the age as more than 0, more than 50, more than 100, more than 150 and more than 250. This is also exactly the same way how we are going to do this. We look at the pattern. It's 0, 50, 100, 150 and 250. So there is a clear pattern here, right? So we are going to assume the width to be 50 here also. So here again, it's going to be the same. 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 to 200 and last one 250 to 300. Okay, so for any open and class intervals, we are going to look at the pattern and decide on the class width. And based on that, we are going to use the same formula and calculate the arithmetic mean. That's all for today. Let's do a quick recap. We looked at 3 special classes for calculating the arithmetic mean of the grouped data. Case 1 was unequal class intervals, where the class width was not uniform. These are completely fine. We just calculate the midpoint for each class as usual and apply the method, either direct method or the assume mean method. The unequal widths do not affect our formula at all. Second case was discontinuous or discrete class intervals, where we first convert the class intervals to continuous ones. And how did we do? By subtracting 0.5 from each lower boundary and adding 0.5 to each upper boundary. Then we proceed as normal. The third case was open-ended class intervals, which begins with below or above or more than or less than, these kind of class intervals. Here we look at the width pattern of the other classes and use it to estimate the boundaries of the open-ended classes. Then we proceed as normal. In all 3 cases, the core formula for mean remains the same, which is sigma mf by sigma f. And we also said that sometimes instead of class intervals, you might directly be given the midpoints in the data table itself. And that is also perfectly fine. You simply use those midpoints directly in your calculation and you skip the step of calculating them yourself. We will see that also come up in problems, in some of the problems when you practice it. And also remember, you can always use the assume mean method instead of the direct method. Both will give you the same result. Use whichever feels more comfortable or more efficient for the numbers you are working with. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope these special cases feel a lot less intimidating now. The key is always to first identify what type of data you have, make the necessary adjustment and then apply the formula you already know. So see you in the next session. Thank you for watching. If you have not already, make sure you hit the bell button and subscribe. Let me know if you understood the video. The comment section is open for you. Share and like and let me know. Bye-bye. Happy learning.